Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'll be showing you how to make sourdough bread from start to finish. If you enjoy this video, please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. First, grab your sourdough starter and we're gonna add some unbleached bread flour and water. So I'm adding a half a cup of bread flour and a half a cup of warm filtered water. You want the consistency to be like a thick pancake base. So you don't want it to be too runny. You want it to barely run off of your spoon. But now here I'm just mixing all of the clumps of the flour. Make sure you stir this until you have no more clumps of flour in there. As you can see, I stirred this enough and it's barely running off my spoon and there's no more big clumps of flour in there. Once you're done combining your flour, water, and sourdough starter, we're gonna move the rubber band or erase marker, whatever you have to mark your jar, we're gonna move that to the highest point of your mixture. You wanna be sure to mark it so that you know when it's doubled in size. So here is my starter 4 to 6 hours later, and since it's doubled, that means it's active. Now that your sourdough starter is active, we're gonna go ahead and start making our bread. So I'm grabbing a large bowl with a scale and I'm adding 200 grams of this active sourdough starter. As you can see, I've added a little bit too much, so I'm just going to scrape out a little bit and add it back to my jar, getting it close to 200. Next, zero out your scale and we're going to add 630 grams of warm filtered water. Now take a metal whisk or any whisk that you have. If you don't have a whisk, you can use a fork. And I'm just gonna combine my sourdough starter and my water together until there are no more clumps. Zero out your scale and we're gonna be adding 1,000 grams of unbleached bread flour. You can use all-purpose, but I find it is a difference in the texture of the bread. Now with my silicone spatula, I'm going to combine my flour with my sourdough starter water mixture. And you want to combine this until there's no more flour showing. Once there's no more leftover liquid, I like to go in with my hands and basically knead it or fold it until there's no more flour. Now that I've fully mixed the dough, I'm just covering it with a damp kitchen towel. You can use a shower cap or even plastic wrap. And while that's resting for an hour, I'm going to go ahead and measure out my 20 grams of sea salt. After you let your dough sit for 1 hour, this is how it should look. And now we are going to add your salt with 10 grams of warm filtered water. After your water is added, I'm just going in and dimpling my dough, which means I'm basically just pushing my salt into the dough so it's evenly distributed. Now that our salt has been added, we're going to start our first stretch and fold. And I'm just stretching all of the sides, basically 4 to 6 stretch and folds. I'm stretching it and then I'm folding the dough in. Stretching the dough up, folding the dough in. We're going to be doing 4 stretch and folds in 30-minute intervals. I'm just going to be covering it each time with a damp kitchen towel. Stretch and fold number 2. So now we're going to just be doing the same thing each time as I did in the first stretch and fold. We're just going to be pulling up, folding down, pulling up, folding down. And you're going to see as we get to stretch and fold number 4, it's going to build up that gluten so that it's more stretchy. you made it to the last stretch and fold. This is stretch and fold number 4, and this is the last time we're going to be doing the stretch and folds. So we're going to be pulling up and folding down. As you can see, the tension is building and it's not really that stretchy as it was in the beginning. So after this, we are going to go ahead and let it bulk rise, which basically the same thing as our sourdough starter. We're going to let this dough double in size, which is the bulk rise, and that usually takes about 6 to 8 hours. I'm covering it with plastic wrap and just leave it on your counter. I like to use a clear bowl and plastic wrap so that I know when it's doubled. So here is the dough before, and here is it after. It's doubled in size, it's bubbly at the bottom. So now we're ready to shape our bread, and we're gonna have to put it in the refrigerator overnight and then bake the next day. You can use a silicone mat or whatever you have, but I like to use the counter. It's just easier for me, but please make sure you clean your counter before you make this bread. So I'm just using some bread flour and I'm flouring my surface, and I am going to release the dough by flipping it upside down and letting it just fall naturally onto my counter. If it doesn't release naturally, it's probably not ready. So you probably want to leave it maybe another hour or two. You want to make sure that when you press the dough, it doesn't stick to your finger. And like I said, those bubbles at the bottom indicate that it's ready as well. Now you have your dough released onto your counter or mat, whatever you have. I'm just dividing it into 3 loaves. I don't have a big enough Dutch oven to make the large loaves, so that's why I make just regular loaves. They're pretty good in size, but you want to weigh each of your loaves so that they're all the same size. You don't want one teeny loaf and one large loaf. So each of these, I think they're going to be around 600 grams. Just make sure they're all even. As you saw, 2 of my loaves to the left were around 600 grams and the one to the right was 700. So I'm just taking some from the bigger loaf and putting it to the other one so that they're all evenly distributed. Let's start with the first loaf. This is going to be my plain loaf, and I'm just going to stretch this dough as much as I can without making any holes or rips. So I'm just holding it up and letting it free fall so it stretches on its own. And then I'm going to put it on the counter and push with my hands so that I'm popping any of the bubbles in there and just making it a large rectangle. Once you have your rectangle, pull both of the sides in and roll it up. We're going to pinch the sides so that there's no opening, and then we are going to shape our dough, and I'm doing a candy cane motion, so starting from the top and pulling down, starting from the top, pulling down in a candy cane motion. Next dough is an inclusion loaf. I'm doing jalapeno cheddar, and for the next 2 loaves I'm going to do the exact same thing I did with my plain loaf. It's just for these I'm going to be adding inclusions. So I'm just letting my dough free fall, and then I'm going to push it on the counter, making a large rectangle. Once you have your rectangle, I don't measure my inclusions, measure with your heart. I'm just adding my jalapenos now. I like to add a lot of jalapenos, and then I just grab a block of cheddar cheese and I cut it into cubes. And then I'm going to be adding that after, and then just rolling it up the same way I rolled up my plain loaf. You can use shredded cheese, any type of cheese you have. I just feel like the diced cheese that you get, it doesn't have a lot of preservatives, and it makes the dough more cheesy when you cut into it. Once you're done adding your inclusions, let's fold both of the sides in, so one and then the other, and then I'm just going to roll it up long ways, and then we're going to pinch the sides so that there's no holes or anything, and then that candy cane motion. Start at the top, pull down, start at the top and pull down. For this loaf, we're gonna be making cinnamon sugar craisin sourdough bread. I'm just taking the dough, letting it hang, free fall so that it stretches naturally. And then I'm just going to place this on the counter and press it outwards and making a rectangle shape. Once I have my rectangle shape and the dough is laminated, I'm going to go ahead and add my craisins, and then I'm going to add cinnamon and then brown sugar. You can measure with your heart. I don't have any measurements for that. It's just based on preference, how much you want in each slice. I like a lot of inclusions in each slice of bread. Once you've added all your inclusions, let's fold one side over, and then we're going to add some craisins just so when you cut it, it's more so like a swirl. So we're just gonna add some more craisins, fold the other side over, and then we're going to roll the dough upwards in the long ways motion. So we're just gonna roll that up. We're going to close the sides, and then we're gonna shape this dough in a candy cane motion. So start at the top and pull down. So we need to put these doughs in the fridge overnight, and then we are going to be able to bake them in the morning. So you can use a kitchen towel. I just find that with inclusions it messes up my towels, so I just put a paper towel down and then grab my dough and flip it upside down into the bowl. So just take a paper towel and flip it upside down. And then we're gonna close all of these doughs up by just bringing each side of the dough inwards. Once you're done closing up your dough, I'm taking a shower cap. That's just the easiest thing for me, so that it doesn't get everywhere. But you can use plastic wrap or, again, a damp paper towel. I just find that the shower cap is easy, it's disposable. You could throw it away tomorrow or reuse it if it's not dirty. But I'm just making sure the paper towel is pushed in and then adding the shower cap on top of it. So this is the last one. I'm just folding in the edges to close up the seams, and then I'm going to add that shower cap on top, and then I'll see you back in the morning. Okay, it's been the next morning, and I'm just laying down parchment paper and flipping that dough upside down onto the parchment paper so that it's right side up. And I'm just sprinkling it with rice flour. You can also use bread flour. And I'm just going to score my dough. So you can do any design you want. I'm just, this just allows the bread to breathe. So I'm just scoring my dough, and then I'm gonna make one big score on the outer side. Also, before you make your bread, make sure that you're preheating your Dutch oven on 450 for an hour. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing as the other loaf. Flip it out of the bowl, and we're gonna sprinkle it with a rice flour and then score it however you want. Just make sure you're making that big score on the outside. Now we're ready to bake our bread. I'm taking out my preheated Dutch ovens. They've been in here for an hour, and I'm going to add each of my loaves in here. And I'm going to cook them for 6 minutes. If you're making 2 larger loaves, you're going to want to do 10 minutes, but I'm just cooking it for 6 minutes. We're going to score it again when it comes out. I just find that it gives me a larger spring. After your dough has cooked for 6 minutes, you can see it's kind of cooked a little bit on the outskirts, and we're just going to take our bread loam and slice it right where we did the first time that we scored the dough. If you don't have a lame, you can also use a knife, whatever works for you. And we're gonna also add ice cubes. I add 3 ice cubes, and that just creates steam inside of the Dutch oven, and it develops a more caramelized crust. Now that you've added your ice, pop your lids back on, and we're gonna bake this on 450 for 20 minutes. And please don't forget to add 2 baking sheets at the bottom of your oven so that you don't have a burnt bottom. It's been 20 minutes. I'm going to remove our lid, and we're going to place these back into the oven without a lid for 20 minutes on 450. And here are my loaves after basically 45 minutes in the oven. We cooked it for 6, added ice, cooked it for another 20 minutes with the lid on, and then 20 minutes with the lid off. And here I'm just showing you my last loaf, the jalapeno cheddar. I'm just gonna score with my lame and then make my big score on the outside and cook it the same way I just did those. You will be able to tell when your dough is done by the color. You can see that it has that brown tint and it's not pale anymore. You don't want your dough to be pale. It's not going to be done in the middle, and you're not going to have that crispy crust. I hope you enjoyed this step-by-step sourdough video. Here is my crumb. As you can see, I think it's perfect, and I hope yours is too. Please let me know if you like any other videos, and please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe.